Hey friends, Dave here with Transfer Express, and today we're talking all about one of the most commonly overlooked aspects of heat printing, and that is pressure. Now, a key component of the heat transfer application recipe of time, temperature, and pressure, incorrect pressure settings may be the reason behind misapplied transfers or scorched and ruined garments. So today, we are going to be covering how to ensure that your pressure is set correctly, why it matters for different transfer types like direct-to-film or even screen-printed transfers, and then we're even going to cover some tips and tricks to ensure frustration-free printing for just about any project. Are you ready? Let's press on. Now, with every different heat transfer type, you'll get application instructions noting the time, temperature, pressure, and peel. So, something like these goof-proof screen printed transfers that we have right here are going to specify 365 degrees, 4 to 6 seconds, medium to firm pressure, and a hot peel. Now, time and temperature are fairly straightforward, right? But the most important of these three, pressure, is sometimes a little bit more of a gray area. So every small and large business looks to maintain profit and work efficiently with consistent, predictable, and easily repeatable results. And pressure commonly gets in the way of that. But why? Well, first up, pressure is not universal across all different heat transfer types. While we just mentioned a medium to firm pressure for these screen print transfers, which is perfect for pushing the plastisol ink down into the fibers of the shirt, other heat transfer types like heat transfer vinyl or direct-to-film can have less than stellar results with pressure settings at this screen print setting, which will just be too high. And this might cause the adhesive to spread out from behind the vinyl or the ink of the direct-to-film, leaving a unsightly clear adhesive outline around your decoration, and not necessarily the best look or result that you're going for. Now, even these medium to firm screen print transfers can totally be overpressed, leading to less opaque inks. Say those white prints on a black shirt may not be as crisp and opaque as you want, and your inks may spread. So as the plastisol ink is under the press and heat, it almost liquefies and can cause small areas of detail or negative space to close up and fill in with pressure too high. Now, another downside of overpressure can be the dreaded press box. Now, essentially, you're flattening the fibers on the garment here, kind of like you're making a crop circle, right? Which are going to totally wash out perfectly fine on 100% or cotton-dominant garments. But it's going to lead to possibly some excess scorching or damage to heat-sensitive garments, even at low application temperatures that are typically safe for those synthetic fabrics like polyester. Now, too little pressure? The transfer's just not going to apply, which is almost the best case scenario with any press issues because the decorator at least knows something is wrong right then and there. Now, pressure can sure be impacted by other obstructions on your press, collars or seams over the printing area. So always ensure those collars, seams, buttons, pockets, or any other obstruction on the garment that you're printing is clear off the lower platen or the printing area. You want a nice, flat, even surface for the best heat transfer results. Now, I mentioned that as kind of a best case scenario. The worst case scenario is that it looks like it applies fine, but when you deliver it to your customer, it doesn't launder correctly, or maybe it washes off that first time that it gets washed. Well, this is awful, because your customer is the one to find out and deal with it before you even know something's wrong. And you may have printed a whole bunch of other shirts that are already messed up too. And if you're lucky, your customer is going to call you and let you know, and you'll have the opportunity to fix it, which could be costly and time-consuming. But in most cases, the customers don't reach out at all. And you have all of those ruined garments and a lost customer. Now, I don't want you to lose any customers, okay? So ensure your pressure is set correctly with that nice, even, flat surface to print on. Now, depending on the heat press that you have, checking your pressure settings and ensuring you're at the right pressure can be very easy. Now, some presses, like this Hotronix Auto Open Clamshell Press, has a very helpful pressure readout, which displays a numerical value right here on the press. Now, 1, of course, being the light pressure, and 9 being firm pressure. Now, if the screen goes blank, it means that our pressure is over that 9 or a 10 or 11, which is pretty much just too high for what you're doing, and you may be damaging your machine. Now, some machines, typically air-powered heat presses, will display the number here. Instead of as just a 1 through 9, it's going to display it in PSI. So here, with the air pressure, a 5 on the autoclam would be the equivalent to a setting of 50 PSI on a model like the Hotronix Air Fusion heat press. Now, what's great about the air-powered machines is that it applies the same level of pressure regardless of the substrate under the press. So it's kind of self-regulating. Regardless if you're printing a hoodie or a thick sweatshirt, a jacket, or a lightweight t-shirt, it applies the same pressure evenly every single time, so you do not need to make any adjustments. Now, another thing to look for in a heat press is an over-the-center pressure adjustment. So you have that nice, even, consistent pressure across the entire heating element area here. Now, pressure at the back of the press, which you'll see on typically some more inexpensive heat presses, are going to introduce pinch points where the pressure at the back of the press is higher than what it is at the front. And we're going to show you a way to test for that here in just a minute. Now, really, adjustable locking pressure is what you need for quality results with any heat transfer. And really why household irons aren't going to cut it. They're never going to be able to provide the quality results, the consistency, or the accurate application settings that you're looking for. Now, another thing to mention, avoid any of those machines, especially the inexpensive ones, that say they have auto pressure. Now, we did a review on one of them that we could link here and down in the description below. While it's auto pressure, it's not the best pressure. While they may seem easy to use and promise that auto pressure, regardless of the substrate or height of whatever you have under the press, they never really provide enough pressure for quality, long-lasting prints. And unless you can manually set the proper pressure in PSI, like on those high-end air-powered machines we mentioned earlier, it's best to skip the auto pressure and opt for the dial. So maybe you have a heat press, you have the over-center the pressure adjustment, and you're just missing out on the digital display for what your pressure's at. How do you know what pressure you're at? Well, we could do the dollar bill test. It's also known as the paper test, and so essentially by using a dollar or a piece of paper, you're going to be able to see if the pressure is higher or lower by testing different spots on your press. I typically like to do each corner, and then if you want to, you could even do along each side. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a dollar bill or dollar-sized pieces of paper and head on back to our press. Now here, we're going to arrange it on all of our corners. And with our quick slip pad protector removed, we have our lower platen rubber foam exposed here, which is gonna give us a little bit of grip. Now, if we could easily slide out the paper, here our pressure is going to be on the lighter side. Now, if it is in there locked in firm, but still movable, we're gonna be in the medium pressure range. And for that not so easily moved or the paper rips, we're going to be at a firm pressure. Don't rip your dollar bills, okay? Don't rip them. Now, like I mentioned earlier, any differences in pressure from one side to another are going to be evident here. And if you run into that, it may be time to start looking for a new heat press if you really want those professional quality heat printed results. Now, I know we already mentioned those collars and seams and the different thicknesses of materials from t-shirts to hoodies or sweatshirts and jackets, but what else could affect pressure on our heat press? And surprisingly, you might not know, but smaller platins affect the pressure. Now, most pressure sensors on heat presses, they're calibrated to the entire printing area of this lower platen here. And in the case of our Hotronix autoclam, that's 16 by 20 inches. But Say we use one of the smaller optional interchangeable Platins that Hotronix offers, we are going to be reducing our printable surface area, increasing the pressure per square inch here, leading to possible overpressure. Now with the same amount of pressure now focused, instead of on a 16 by 20 area, it's focused on a smaller area here, we are going to need to compensate our settings to lower pressure, which you don't need to know physics and all of the math and conversions. We've actually got it all figured out for you with this very handy perfect pressure chart, which we'll drop the link in the description below. Now, complete with the entire list of interchangeable Platins from Hotronix, here we see something like the 11 by 15 inch Platin that should have the pressure reduced by 50%, bringing a medium to firm set at 8 pressure down to a 4 on our pressure settings. Now, I hope this video today helped troubleshoot or maybe helped you avoid any issues that you may have heat printing in the future so you can press like a pro every single time. Have your own tips as they relate to the heat press pressure or any application? Think we missed something here in this video today? Well, let us know down in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe right here to the Transfer Express YouTube page for all of the t-shirt printing tips, tricks, inspiration, and education that we're dropping every single week. But until next time, I'm Dave.